We're Stand, please.
Honourable members, distinguished guests, the Premier has arrived, but he has been ushered to the holding room in order to greet His Majesty the King. The procession is now entering, and we will request that we all rise. Order, Madam Speaker.
Madam Speaker.
Good morning, honorable members. His Majesty the King, the Premier of the province, I take this opportunity to welcome all honorable members, His Majesty the King, Mrs. KwaZulu-Natal, Ntuli, Onati, and all the distinguished guests. I therefore, at this moment also, before we even begin, would call in for a 5-minute photo session. Thank you, members of the media. Thank you, members of the media. Honorable Premier and the honorable members, we will now continue and move on to the announcements. The first announcement is, before we even got to that, I am sorry, we must first have a short silent prayer or meditation. May all members of the House rise for a silent prayer or meditation. Amen. Honorable members, we now come to the announcement as regarding the sitting of today, which has been called in terms of Standing Rule 10(1)B, which provides an opportunity for the Premier to deliver the State of the Province address. Your Majesty, honorable members, I now call upon the Premier of KwaZulu-Natal, the Honorable Thami, Ntuli, to deliver the State of the Province address.
Thank you, Madam Speaker. Shanga lumshabathi bayede silesikhulu. Honorable Speaker, Ms. Nontembeko Boys, Honorable Deputy Speaker, Ms. Mabacho Tembe, Honorable members of KwaZulu-Natal Provincial Executive Council, Honorable members of the Provincial Legislature, Ndlunkulu Yesilo, the First Lady, Umasbisi, Abatwana Basendlunkulu bonke, members of the Diplomatic Corps, Chairperson of the KwaZulu-Natal Provincial House of Traditional and Khoisan leaders, Inkosi Shinga, all traditional leaders, Amakhosi Endlunkulu present, Amabutho Esilo, mayors and all councillors, religious leaders, business leaders, special advisors to the Premier, Director General Dr. Nonhlanhla Mkhize, Provincial Commissioner of Police, Lieutenant General Nhlahla Mkhwanazi, all heads of departments, chief executive officers of public entities, people of KwaZulu-Natal, ngibingelela kubo bonke abantu bakwaZulu-Natal, distinguished guests, members of the media, members of the police. Madam Speaker, we wish to express our profound gratitude to His Majesty, the King, for again honoring our province's unique and long-standing tradition of officiating at the opening of the KwaZulu-Natal Legislature. Sithokoza kakhulu Silo ngoba usisingathe namuhla ekuvulweni kwesishayamthetho. Ubukhona bakho hlangana lomhlabathi kuletha isigqiki. Amagama akho Silo agcizelela ekutheni sisebenzela abantu bakho Silo, singayibeki thina phambili njengosopolitiki. Ayakha futhi siyethembisa ukuthi elomdala ngeke libuye lilambatha. Hlanga lamakhosi, I feel honored to have been elected the 10th Premier of our province. I was elected at a time when our country and province need leaders who can restore the trust of our people in a better tomorrow. Sethula lenkulumo nje hlanga lomhlabathi ensukwini ezimbalwa ezedlule elendlovukazi uMthaniya selihlonywe uphaphele gwalagwala inhlangano yezizwe ngaphansi kwephiko lwe-UNESCO ngokukhomba imgede isibhudu phecelezi Sibhudu Caves ngaphansi kwesifunda iLembe kanye neDube House at Inanda where Dube family remains lie. Njengamanye kwamafagugu ayingabulakutholwa emhlabeni. Lokhu sekwenze isibalo seindawo ezingamafagugu eningizimu Afrika senyuka. Our province's history is long and full of twists and turns. It starts with the arrival of the different races, including Abenguni, the Dutch, the English, and the Indians. As with all histories, the formation of the country, including the province of KwaZulu-Natal, has notable epoch that boasts heroes relevant to those specific times. Through the different histories of nations neighboring the province, our past challenges, missteps, and achievements, we learned a lot about creating miracles from despondency. Through various trenches of history, told in various languages, from isiZulu, English, Afrikaans, Hindi, isiXhosa, and others, was born a great history that gave rise to a tapestry of communities, the sum of which we proudly call KwaZulu-Natal. We're a generation that boasts and are students of this rich history, from that of Izilo, Amakhosi Ohlanga, Amafelankosi, writers, academics, and intellectuals, teachers, artists, nurses, religious leaders, founders of political formation, unionists, entrepreneurs, and legislatures. In all the history that involves the daughters and sons of KwaZulu-Natal, we can learn a lot and build on it. Madam Speaker, njengoba sihlangene lapha siyaqonda ukuthi likhona iva elingakabanguleki kwimphakathi eminingi eyakhele lesi sifundazwe. We know that some families have not found closure because they could not bury their loved ones who disappeared during the floods. Eminye imindeni kuyimanje isakhalela ithambo labathandibeyo bayo abangatholakali. Namanje sisemanzini kanye nayo lemndeni ngenxa yalomuka. Ngiyakhalisana futhi nemndeni elahlekelwe abathandibeyo balo ngenxa yemililo yequbula kamuva. Laba bangontombi khona Nxele, uNontsikelelo Zuma, uKhethiwe Ngcobo, uNtongfuthi Ngcobo, uVusi Radula, Mabongi Sishane, and Richard Dlamini ukubala laba ababezama ukubhula bevikela imvelo nomphakathi. Siyabonga amaqhawe asale enkundleni enza inkonzo yesizwe yokuvikela impilo, imfuyo nemvelo. Siyakhalisana nalabo abalahlekelwe ngezindlela ezahlukene. We know that some businesses remain closed because they did not have resources to rebuild following the social unrest of July 2021. We'll ensure that the Department of Economic, Tourism and Environmental Affairs provide financial and technical support in rebuilding those businesses that were affected. We also know that some households are today hit by children because of the effect of the COVID-19 pandemic, which robbed them of their parents and breadwinners. As this government, we will fast track the profiling and mapping out of where these children-hidden households are in all districts, municipality by municipality, ward by ward, working with you, our citizens, to ensure social protection of our orphaned and vulnerable children. We acknowledge that 1,151 families are still living in traditional emergency accommodations. The rented flats sourced in response to the 2022 floods. In the Durban Metro, the process of relocating flood victims from these facilities to their permanent homes will be expedited. Today, 5 land parcels for permanent housing have been rezoned to accommodate 400 units. I have directed the Director General to follow up on the rezoning process of the outstanding 5 land parcels and to provide a progress report with an intention that the process is finalized. We want to finalize the placement of all families that were affected who are still living in the transitional facilities. In Pietermaritzburg, we are already a top structure construction for those who were living in temporary shelters. As the broader committee of KwaZulu-Natal, we carry a collective responsibility to return our fellow citizens' life to normalcy and assist business to get back on their feet. As this government, we will work with all of you through this journey of rebuilding your lives. We will not stop until all of us have recovered. Madam Speaker, the most important lesson from the founding fathers and mothers of our democracy, leaders such as former President Nelson Mandela and Umntwana Wapindangene, whom I was lucky to grow up under, was the need to build where there is destruction, to heal where there is pain, and to put out the flames that threaten our very existence. I mention these leaders because 30 years ago, they took our country over the proverbial river, Jordan, when there was political violence. It had been brother against brother. Through their leadership, the province obtained peace and the chance to rebuild. The country had its first government of national unity in 1994. That unity stopped the violence. Roads and houses were built, and most importantly, there was reconciliation. Both Madiba and Shenge are no longer physical with us, but they bequeathed us the legacy of unity, which is important in facing challenges. Madam Speaker, when I delivered my inaugural speech about a month and a half ago, I made a commitment personally and on behalf of the administration I lead. Collectively, we pleaded to deliver on the hope and revival that the people of this province so desperately need. Today's address is about us spelling out what we will do and do differently, to honor the undertaking we made during the inaugural ceremony, that of inspiring new hope for our people. Honourable Speaker, my address followed the President of the Republic's opening of Parliament address on the 18th of July, in which he painted a comprehensive picture of the country and what needs to be done. Mine is to do likewise for KwaZulu-Natal, being frank about the province and our strategy to deal with the challenges. I do not intend to deliver a long-winded speech because I appreciate the legitimate impatience of our people from all walks of life who want to experience a KwaZulu-Natal that enables them to achieve their individual goals, raise their children in conditions of safety, and be masters of their destinies. As KwaZulu-Natal, we fully align to the three strategic priorities adopted by the Government of National Unity. These priorities act as both an anchor and a compass for these 7 administrations' program of action, which are as follows. Firstly, to drive inclusive economic growth and job creation. Secondly, to reduce poverty and tackle the high cost of living. And thirdly, to build a capable, ethical, and developmental state. Madam Speaker, as a collective, arising out of negotiations through the National and Provincial Cabinet Legislature, we agreed that the 7th administration has a dual and urgent responsibility to aid the province in rebuilding the post-pandemic and post-unrest, post-natural disaster economy, and to strengthen direction and coordination at the heart of government. Driving inclusive growth and job creation. Currently, the economy is in a low growth trap, with average growth lagging behind population growth, leading to a regression in real gross domestic products, our GDP. This impact is felt most acutely by the youth and women. As part of rebuilding the economy, in the 100 days since we assumed office, we are committing to this program of action. We will leverage the capacity and cooperate with the provincial public entities in terms of their mandate in growing and transforming the province's economy. In the coming days, we will hold high-level discussions with their leadership, including the boards and executive management. As we restructure our economy, we will have ongoing discussions regarding the role of key economic institutions, such as the Growth Fund, Italy Development Finance Corporation, Trade and Investment KwaZulu-Natal, Agribusiness Development Agency, Richards Bay Industrial Development Zone, and the Dube Trade Corporation, in relation to the employment impact of policy decisions. Madam Speaker, we are delighted to announce that major investment projects to the value of 1.4 billion are under construction in Trade Zone 2 at the Dube Trade Port. In the future, we will be injecting 2 billion in local economic development by building an agri-hub around the province and also at the Richards Bay Industrial Development Zone. We will start by injection 150 million in building the fresh produce market at Umhlatuze, a municipality in Richards Bay. In addition, the state-owned entities will be engaged as they are operating in the province as drivers of contribution in the economic growth of the province. Amongst other initiatives, we will meet with KwaZulu-Natal Growth Coalition and Economic Council, Chambers of Business to galvanize a business and foster collaborations to increase business confidence, impacting growth and job creation. In this regard, the government aims to recalibrate its role as an enabler and catalyst for business to thrive. Economic transformation and inclusive growth remain key economic growth and development pillars. We will pay deliberate attention to the development of small, youth and women-owned businesses through partnership and incubation. The township and rural economies are important elements of social economic transformation. It cannot be that our people in townships and rural areas are robbed of these opportunities. We are taking a closer look in the matter of business owned by illegal foreign nationals. Having said that, we are noting that even those that are in the country legally, some do not comply with environmental health and safety regulations. Some will go on an extent of selling expired products to our vulnerable communities. Working with all municipalities and law enforcement agencies, we will enforce environmental health bylaws within the next 3 months from today. Agriculture is one of the sectors that is pivotal in addressing rural economy. The priority will be to identify all the farms owned by government that are lying fallow and ensure that we fund through the available allocated funds for youth and women, SMMEs, to turn these farms around and produce to ensure food security. We will start with a minimum of 2 of these farms. We will ensure that Ubukosi or traditional leaders play a pivotal role in programs aimed at rural economic development. Rethinking rural development and land management is also key in our strategy. This will ensure improvement in agriculture efficiency and productivity. Other sectors of the economy that will be catalyzed and synergized for growth include the digital economy, green economy, high-value manufacturing, oceans economy, hemp and cannabis, among others. During inauguration, we announced the reconfiguration of the Department of Public Works, into the development of public works and infrastructure. This was designed to expedite infrastructure development, ensure efficient use of internal resources, and achieve the broader economic growth and development goals set for the province. As part of this reconfiguration, we are repositioning the department as the implementer of choice for all infrastructure projects within provincial government departments. I wish to invite the construction industry to contribute positively in the project done in our province. As this government, we must all work together to fight the construction mafia syndrome. There is no place for the construction mafia in our province. We will work with the construction industry to help the industry grow. Madam Speaker, this government prioritizes the institutionalization of a youth development. We are mindful of young people who are unemployed, including those that are graduates. Following this approach, in August 2024, which is starting tomorrow, we are opening a new window for 100 million Youth Empowerment Fund, where the youth will be afforded an opportunity to seek for support from the office. Innovation is critical in creating a futuristic economy. In this area, we want to see new industries anchored on e-commerce, finance, information technology, e-hailing, and related services. For this reason, we will support new startup industries in these fields. We will officially open the King Dinizulu Innovation Valley at the Dube Trade Port. This valley will support creativity and innovation in the IT space. We have engaged the private sector so that we can create the digital fund, which will be assessed by our people. We have concluded a partnership agreement with the service sector and a property practitioner regulatory authority to implement a 12-month leadership program in the real estate sector. A total of 800 youth people have been contracted and inducted in preparation for the program's commencement. The program's objective is to transform the property and real estate industry and include the previously marginalized youth, especially young women in the province of KwaZulu-Natal. The program will start in Durban and Pietermaritzburg. Today, 31st July, is the Pan-African Women's Day. And tomorrow, we begin the Women's Month. Unfortunately, women continue to be the face of poverty in the country and in the province. The different government departments will be implementing programs that empower women throughout the month and beyond. Furthermore, in supporting women in business and those aspiring to be in business, within the 100 days, we will announce the KwaZulu-Natal Women Advancement Fund. This will be done in partnership with the private sector. Supporting heritage tourism, KwaZulu-Natal possesses key comparative and competitive advantages in tourism. And in this regard, we will repurpose cultural and heritage tourism and revive heritage routines to contribute to the rural economy and also expose the potential of the rural towns. Silo Samabanja, as part of celebrating our diversity, we will unveil the iconic King Shaka statue, which is at King Shaka International Airport, and complete the construction of the 1,860 indentured Indian laborers monuments. Enhancing mobility and transformation through transport. Transport focus will be expanded to incorporate other modes of transportation in its interventions for enhancing mobility. This will include rail, maritime, pipeline, and aviation road players. This is to alleviate congestion on road and network, but also influence beneficiation in the value chain of these industries. The taxi industry continues to be a pillar of economic growth, and it has to be prioritized and treated as a formal business. Within 100 days, there will be engagement of all stakeholders within the transport industry, addressing access and expansion of public transport and continued peace within the sector. As a responsible and a responsive government, we will look closely into the permit disputes and the process of issuing permits. Reducing poverty and tackling high cost of living. Despite many interventions, poverty levels remain unacceptably high. Structural features that perpetuate poverty and inequality have not been sufficiently transformed. This necessitates more effective economic empowerment and inclusive strategies. All social partners carry the responsibility of dealing with poverty. While government will continue to play a leading role in tackling poverty and provide a safety net for the most vulnerable, we invite all social partners to join hands with us. ILIMA or Letsima mechanization program remains one of the key interventions to address poverty. This is part of producer support interventions to drive food and nutritious security in the province. I've directed the Department of Agriculture and Rural Development to work with Amakosi and all stakeholders in ensuring that KwaZulu-Natal is green with vegetables garden, crop farming, and grazing land. These endeavors will contribute to food security. Silo esikhulu ezweni lakho akekho umuntu okumele alale engadlile sikhona sonke singumndeni. We will continue providing houses to communities to address the current significant housing backlog and to improve their dignity. Whenever compelling cases are found outside our normal project areas, we will implement Operation Sukumasaka intervention for vulnerable groups. Njengohulumeni wakho Silo esikhulu, singephumule manga kusekhona ugogo Mashezi ophongolo olala endlini ewayo. Singephumula abantu abakhubazekile bengakabonelelwa ngeindawo zokuhlala ezibalungele. In the first 100 days, we will monitor the delivery of the following human settlement interventions: 150 service sites, 500 breaking new ground houses, 99 households that receive subsidies and purchase units under First Home Finance Program. 5 of the 10 land parcels for 2022 flood victims rezones. Building a capable, ethical, and environmental states. Building capacity, capability, and agility in the public service is of paramount importance in order to regain the trust of citizens. Even as we operate under fiscal constraints, this government is committed to deliver services while adhering to prudent financial management. In line with national priorities, the KwaZulu-Natal Cabinet, the Hotla, has resolved to strengthen the capacity and support for struggling municipalities to ensure that, first and foremost, they are capable of providing basic services to our people, ensure sound financial management, and facilitate economic growth. Provision of water, sanitation, electricity, and road infrastructure remains central to the realization of basic human rights of our people. We have resolved to make a call for the attainment of clean audits linked to service delivery and performance agreement across the board. We must state that this government will implement a strict zero-tolerance approach to non-compliance, enforce accountability, and enforce consequence management. We want all departments, municipalities, and public entities to improve their audit outcomes and strive for clean audits. That is non-negotiable. Clean, ethical, and good governance will be the order of the day. Fraud and corruption in this government will not be tolerated. We are committed to professionalizing the public service. The Premier's hotline is up and running. To show that we mean business, I wish to share the free hotline number and email today, which is 080-122-9040. And the email address is complaints@kznpremier.gov.za. I wish for every citizen not just to see wrongdoing, but to also report wrongdoing. I encourage you all to report acts of maladministration, corruption, and poor service delivery. To this end, we will refocus the Office of the Premier on research, policy development, planning, monitoring, and evaluation as the glue that holds government of provincial unity together. Implementation of anti-corruption strategy and plan to deal with corruption and service delivery failures at all levels. On Operation Mo, which is an integrated, massified, and focused service delivery model at local level, which ensures social accountability. As part of this new administration, we will embark on unannounced visit to frontline services. Madam Speaker, to this administration, people are not statistics. They are citizens with basic human rights. As such, we will continue to visit households to ascertain that services are delivered by all departments during unannounced monitoring visits. Sesiqalile uhlelo lokungena umuzi ngomuzi. Sizobheka inhlalakahle nezidingo zabantu. Siyaqinisekisa ukuthi bayicosha lezo zidingo. Siyoqinisekisa bayicosha lezo zidingo. Sikhuluma nje lapha eMpofana sithole ugogo umchunu obenenkinga yamehlo. Sizoqinisekisa ukuthi uyalithola usizo. Sizokulusa ukuthi nembala uyalicosha usizo ngokugcwele. In addition, we will strengthen the monitoring and reporting on the district development model in line with the recently promulgated regulations. Mitigating climate change, Madam Speaker. In KwaZulu-Natal, climate change is a lived reality. About 2 months ago, various district municipalities were hit by heavy storms and winds. With the town of Utongati being the epicenter of that disaster, progress made thus far in Utongati is building material and school uniform as well as mobile classrooms have been delivered. We are grateful for the solidarity shown through generous donations coming far and wide. We will continue rebuilding Utongati. Just recently, our province was devastated by runaway wildfires that destroyed lives and livelihoods of our people. It is for this reason that we welcome recent signing of the climate change bill into law by the President. This legislative regime is welcomed as a progressive steps towards legalizing the climate change response processes and actions that have been undertaken. Sustainable social dialogue. One of the most important aspects of social, political, and economic reconstruction is the ability and willingness of communities to engage in dialogue to find meaningful and lasting solutions to existing problems. To this end, over the next 100 days of this administration, we will prioritize engagements with all sectors of society to enable them to contribute to the rebuilding of our province. We acknowledge that there are sections of society that may perceive themselves alienated from our government. We aim to remedy that. Furthermore, we acknowledge the need for the creation of effective platforms for citizens to engage with their government. The main goal of these sessions is to create neutral channels for the engagement of a broad array of stakeholders, including representatives from traditional leaders, non-governmental organizations, community-based organizations, academia, business, Chapter 9 institutions, the media, parliament, as well as local and provincial government, with the support of leading experts. These sessions are impartial and not tied to any political party or ideology. This will be driven by the office of the Premier. Improving the health care. We have set 3 primary targets for health systems, including emergency medical rescue services response times. This will ensure that our health care responses improve. This includes quality services, short waiting time, communicating to patients while waiting, courtesy to citizens, all to improve quality to be experienced by our citizens at clinics and hospitals, while strengthening primary health care, focusing on health. Health promotion, mainly to lower the diseases of lifestyles that are of the increase. Diabetes is the #1 killer now in our province. Attending to cancer prevention, mental health, which has increased with all stressors we faced in the past 3 years. Whilst attending to prevention of TB, HIV, and all other viral infections that are facing our people. Whilst primary health care is a cornerstone of delivering healthier lives, this government will also pay attention to specialist services delivered in hospitals. Delivering quality education for all. We will prioritize monitoring the quality of teaching and learning, school infrastructure, and the school nutrition program to enhance foundational and secondary education. By collaborating with the communities, we aim to identify and integrate children who have dropped out of school, addressing the high out rate and therefore literacy. This administration is committed to enhance school sports and arts into mainstream education, promoting health and diversity in schools, improving community safety. One of the key threats to accelerated and inclusive economic growth and development is instability. An environment where safety and security are undermined breeds instability, which in turn chases away investment, threatens social fabric, and impends actualization. We acknowledge how crime is impacting on your lives. Starting in August, we will be convening engagement in all districts and the metro that will culminate into a provincial crime summit. This engagement will enable all the role players, ranging from Amakosi, Induna, South African Police Services, mayors and councillors, religious leaders, crime prevention structures, business and broader communities, to analyze the crime situation in the province and to come up with interventions that must be prioritized as part of their SETA plan for crime fighting and crime prevention. Hlanga lomhlabathi silwesikhulu. As this government, we are committed to the safety and well-being of amakhosi, induna, councillors and communities. With regard to this, plans are afoot to implement an integrated security program. On gender-based violence and femicide. Gender-based violence and femicide is a scourge that continues to put us to shame. The latest numbers of reported gender-based violence and femicide incidents in Inanda, Umlazi, and Empangeni are disturbingly high. Lokhu silo samabandla kulichilo esizweni sakho. The province will continue to fight this scourge through the Provincial Integrated Plan. In conclusion, Honorable Chairperson, history has given us a responsibility to leave our mark in the sense of time by making a difference in the lives of the people we serve. This is a task that is challenging and daunting and yet fulfilling at the same time. As this generation of leaders, we have a duty and a mandate to ensure that we work together to harness the collective potential of every citizen of our province. This undertaking requires the grit and determination of all our leaders united in their quest to change the economic fortunes of our province. As I conclude, I wish to state categorically that the provincial government I lead is equal to the task of opening a charter of social stability, growth and development in the lives of the people of this province. As I advanced in my acceptance speech as the Premier of this province, our enduring commitment is to be the servants of our people, to serve with dignity, honor and integrity, and to ensure that there is value for money in every expenditure. This is a commitment we will not betray. Honorable Speaker, allow me to take this opportunity to thank His Majesty the King, Hlangalezwe Silwesikhulu, for your presence and support today. To yourself, Honorable Speaker, Deputy Speaker, and honorable members of the Legislature, thank you for giving us an opportunity to present these priorities to this august House for the betterment of the citizens of KwaZulu-Natal. Honorable members of the Executive Council, I'm grateful for your support and continuous guidance. I would like to thank the leadership of political parties that are part of the government of national and provincial unity for putting our people first. I would like to thank my political party for the opportunity to lead this government. Thank you to the Director General for the technical and administrative support leading the office of the Premier team. I would also like to express a word of appreciation to the Premier Special Advisors for their input and support. Thank you also to my wife, Mahlase, and my family for your unwavering support and life as we are tasked to lead the province. Thank you.